What do you guys think of this one?
Ooh, I mean,
I think Danny's ridiculous.
Yeah. Danny is the biggest Team Iceland superfan, though, so I'm not. This is very much.
Let's go Iceland!
I mean, Danny loves it. Danny loves an underdog. Iceland, if you didn't catch it, did actually qualify to the EMEA conference. So hey, he was right in that regard. I think. Look, I mean, there's been a whole week. I think we haven't mentioned the fact that there's been an entire week that Defiant have actually had off, and they came out of that week too looking shocking, absolutely shocking. 5 maps against New York. Swept by the Mayhem, who, by the way, got taken to 5 maps by the Valiant. So, Matt, I don't think Danny is that much out of pocket, but a week can be a long time with this one.
I don't think Danny is out of pocket with this. I actually think it makes a little bit of sense. I don't agree with Danny. He was so impressed with the Valiant, said all these positive things, and then basically he was like, I think they're gonna win by that much. Like barely get by. Yeah.
That is true. But I mean, we talk about Jake used the term name brand value. I think that's a really apt term when you look at this team. It's Kalush from the San Francisco Shock in the past. It's OG and Ultraviolet from the Atlanta Rain team. Hydron for the Mayhem. Speedily, of course, on the Atlanta team, who was really expected to make a splash. On name brand, the Toronto Defiant really should be coming out of the gate strong here. And I'm going to go back to what Johnny said. What is the style of the Toronto Defiant? What do they do best? Because someone like Kalush, let's not forget, that guy got subbed out in the second half of the Shock series against the Fuel in last year's Grand Final because they couldn't find a way to get him into the game. That was maybe a lack of flexibility back then. This is now, but we have really high expectations for the Defiant, but if you predated them, you are feeling uncomfortable right now. I predated them 3-1. I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think you'll probably know how this series goes rather quickly. I think like how this first map kicks off, I think you'll have a really strong idea over what happens here is, it'll still look like some Valiant trash talk and then immediately a pause there from Toronto. So we'll get back in the game in a sec. But I think you're going to be able to see if there's a large, because Toronto, you look at this team and on paper, and I think with name brand value, right? You expect them to be a team that can kind of run over the Valiant on the other side, right? Yep. Just kind of dominate with skill. If that is not the case early on, I actually think things start to sway heavily towards the Valiant, right? We saw Seeker have a really good game on that one that we casted against the Florida Mayhem. I thought the support line was really good. I saw some Reddit thread, and I think Avril was going back and forth. I thought the support line was pretty good last week.
Who was in the Reddit thread? Tell me again.
I don't know. There's a bunch of people there on Reddit.
I need to ban that guy from getting.
No, I need to ban him. No. Avril wasn't on Reddit. He was on Twitter, but talking about Reddit. So it was kind of, once I had to go to multiple places to understand the convo, I just stopped. So I was like, all right, something's going on here. I thought the supports played pretty well last week for the Valiant, in that game against Florida that we saw. But and if you get that type of performance here today, and Toronto is on that same trajectory as we think, I definitely think this is a series the Valiant can take. I don't even think it would be 3-2. I think there's a way this could swing heavily towards the Valiant.
Yes, I do think though that we know that Krawi is not someone that sort of likes to play these Winston styles typically, right? It's a lot of Ramacha, maybe a bit of Diva mixed in there. Speedily has the option also to play that Echo. He's obviously been very, very upfront about the fact that he wants to be known as the best Tracer player, but his pocket Echo is really powerful. We may see it on the control map if it's the sort of right one to bring that in, and that's a great way to pressure down a tank that doesn't always go towards the Winston, right? Ramacha can be pretty vulnerable against Focusing Beam even when he's sort of blocking out. What I really love about the Valiant, I know it's crazy. I guess that the more things change, the more they stay the same. The way we sort of talk about this team has changed drastically since last year, let's just say that. But talking to Jake, and he's like, I get a bit of info from scrims and how teams feel about others. There's so much talk at the start of the season about how teams conduct themselves in scrims, right? I won't mention the team, but you'll know if you've been keeping up with the news. There's been one that's been credited with a lot of rage scrims.
Yeah, you didn't have to go to multiple sites to find that news. You log on Twitter, you figure it out.
Let's go. Yeah, exactly. But the Valiant are known to have a reputation for always staying in the scrims, giving it their all, never giving up. And I think that correlates with this team's improvement over the course of the season. CJ and Lyra are being heralded as a backline with incredible potential, and we know what Seeker and Krawi are capable of doing. So there's no, like, if you're a fan of the Valiant, like, it's a good time. It's a good time to buy these stonks because they are on the rise, and the Defiant in week 2 were on the way down. So let's see how that course is corrected, Matt, in this last week.
Yeah, no, we'll see potentially, obviously, some time to make some changes, but Toronto may be coming out here with the Reinhardt kind of composition. Okay, so they're going to have Kaluj on the Rhine. It'll be Symmetra for both sides, but really, it's just that Reinhardt versus Ramatra, which we've seen time and time again that the Ramatra is able to win out, but speedily gets a first pick.
I mean, you're taking a risk here playing Symmetra in a front line that doesn't have a static shield. Seeker gets picked off there, albeit like a little bit randomly. But if you're Hydron, you probably feel much more secure playing close to the front line, pressuring down with the Symmetra here. Ultraviolet gets a little caught on the outside of the map there, has to use an immortality field for themselves, and it doesn't go well.
I don't know how Ultraviolet got caught all the way on that side. Maybe kind of like thought he was going around on a little bit of flank. Maybe thought the rest of the team was going to push up, be a little bit more aggressive, but yeah, it's a bit odd. Look at that. I mean, Toronto gets a first pick off with speedily, like basically instantly. It doesn't even get the point for it. They end up giving it right up away.
That's not a good look, I'll be honest with you. An opportunity for the Defiant here. But again, they have to win like a straight 5v5. They had the pick, they lose the point. Not a great sign here, but there's work to be done. Amplification Matrix is available here. We see Hydron take the TP out of trouble and back to get healed. Nosma have to ice block here, and he does. It's going to be Windows overlooking the point from both Baptiste players here. CJ low has to use an immortality field for themselves, and again, it's going to get picked off pretty soon. Keep an eye on Liar here, taking a little bit of poke damage in that front line, and the Defiant want to start to bully the Valiant off behind this wall.
Yes, they do get past and get to control the point, and that's going to be Crawley falling here early, but they did use that a lot to be able to kind of like battle back, bully them off the point. Really, that Symmetra wall was the thing that did it, right? Not a lot of damage, obviously, you can go through that from the Valiant. Cry just using Nemesis form, trying to block, soak up damage, keep control of the point. Not able to do so, but 41% still for the Valiant. Pretty good start.
Yeah, looking at their old economy as well, you're feeling fairly good about their chances in this next fight. Comes down to execution here, especially this Symmetra wall. Going to be thrown to give the Valiant a safe zone here, but Kaluj may opt to push through and go for a quick shatter as he whips around the corner. May wall thrown up here. Krawi needs to return to that defensive zone here. That wall has expired, and now Kaluj has an opening. He gets blown up instantly, though. Doesn't expect the Nemesis punch, I guess. And, of course, that air matrix in the back. CJ causing a lot of problems for Toronto.
And that Blizzard doesn't get anything there for the Defiant. Spiely just kind of throws it in as maybe some of the players coming in for the Valiant. But yeah, I agree with you. I think CJ up on that high ground using that Amp Matrix definitely caught Kalush and probably the rest of the Defiant off guard, because he went around the corner, started to swing, looked like he was going to get aggressive, and he got blown up basically instantly.
So after a week, we're looking for Toronto to play very distinctively, their own style, and be very clean. The latter they've not really achieved so far. It's been really scrappy. In this fight, there is still a shatter here for Kaluj, but the Blizzard's going to complicate things a little bit more now. So CJ's able to back away from Kaluj, who just wants the Baptiste, but in the meantime, his team's getting utterly eviscerated. Sound Barrier comes in and it's an okay shatter, I suppose, but there's no follow-up. It's a little late, and the Defiant had already lost a player by the time Kaluj decides to pop that ult. That's a head-scratcher.
Yeah, well, I think it's because they got the Annihilation going and he was pretty low, so he shatters the Ramatra and doesn't want to just kind of like send his life going in at it to try and kill him. As double Sim Barrier here, Mitch, but look at how far ahead CJ is towards this next Amp Matrix. He's gonna, if you just kind of like have a little bit of a battle here with these Sim walls, right, the Sims start to get charged up, you're gonna see this Amp Matrix come out pretty early here for the Valiant, which could end up deciding the game.
Is about as complex as navigating a very quickly moving revolving door. And there it is, CJ strikes again. Hydron goes down, that Amp Matrix doing a fair bit of work. Kaluj have to crucially take Seeker out of the front line here, so that front loaded damage for the Valiant now is severely compromised, allowing the Defiant to push up and take the point, but they had better hold it for the rest of the round.
Yeah, it's like that first pickoff happens right when the Valiants are about to pop that Amp Matrix, so you can't keep those players alive. You're down a player, you know, going into the fight, and even though CJ had a pretty good angle, not able to really find anything, they decide to back off. So now a little bit of an advantage here for the Defiant is you're looking at probably like this fight, maybe one more for them to win this point.
Ultraviolet's in Amp Matrix position here. Okay, regenerative burst pop pretty early on in the fight. Knows he can amp his healing if he needs to. Zika takes a big hit from what looks like a fire strike there, maybe an endothermic blaster. Either way, the Defiant are waiting. They might be waiting for a shatter here. They've got all the ultras ready to use. The longer they wait, the more of a window they give the Valiant into this fight.
Yeah, I think it's the Valiant waiting here. CJ's going to have another Amp Matrix there, but it's Kaluj getting aggressive with a Shatter. And yeah, you may have just been a little bit too patient there playing for those ultimates. Yeah, you probably thrown this one away as it's going to be a team kill. You were probably playing around getting double support ultimate for the Valiant there, right? Towards the end, but you kind of play that waiting game and then neutral on the point for so long. If you don't win it, you get, obviously caught like that, and pretty poor defeat there at the end.
Look, they come into that fight so it's like 99-50. They come into that fight with no ultimates really. So their ult combo looks really weak there. You can see it's charging up now. Liar, I don't think they Ajaxed, but yeah, okay, it was a nice shatter to be sure. CJ, no chance to use that amp. Liar, sound barrier available here, opting not to use it. Yeah, not a great look here for the Valiant, letting that one slip.
Yeah, it looked like both teams throwing out some comps that they would try and play here. Not the case. That's actually the Valiant using a TP to get out of the spawn, and then using kind of the sound speed boost to kind of get to the point. Yeah, but Toronto actually just beats them there, right? They end up using the speed boost out of the point, then the TP up to the high ground.
I mean, listen, the hallowed name of LH Cloudy gets invoked at the start of this round here. Both teams come out on Reinhardt. Both teams play aggressively, very much channeling the aura of that individual. Of course, we saw representing Finland in the World Cup, so it'll be a factor.
I thought the Valiant were fine on the Ramantra. Like, I think you probably got to just stay on that. Like, I don't think there's like a... I wouldn't say like Kaluj or Crawley, or Reinhardt specialists or, top Reinhardts, where I think you probably, even for both teams, right? Kaluj playing some of those kind of off-tank centric tanks.
Crawley's never going to build a shadow map.
Yeah, I mean, it's not great when you die that fast, so...
he is at risk of getting lapped.
Yeah, we're going back to the spawn again here. Yeah. Oh, I mean, he's going to, right? Kaluj going to have the shatter in the next fight. Probably Cry the first one, the recipient of it, right? Build it back up again. There's definitely a very good chance he gets lapped.
Yeah, this is looking much worse for the Valiant now. Having switched to the Reinhardt comp, it's something that you know too much about Crowley's Reinhardt resume. So far, not exactly a sterling impression being given. Blue's going to give a little bit of space here. Okay, so turrets placed by the Valiant to stop a push out of the point, but it's unlikely that Defiant are going to oblige in that regard. Blue's going to know about it straight away if he does. And Matrix here. Oh, Liar gets caught. Not great. Lucio's down. Kalush takes a punch of damage to that window, but Hydron burns Krawi down. Man, having the Symmetra wall at that moment, perfect timing.
Well, and then Hydron also uses the TP to get behind the Valiant, who are already in a little bit of panic mode and just starts beaming everybody down. That is your Amp Matrix there for the Valiant. That does not work. You are still very far away from a Shatter. Even Sound Barrier here as well. 80%, right? This fight ends pretty quick with some ultimates here for the Defiant. You may not get that.
I try to have everything. Talk about ult economy in the previous round. This one, not much different. Kalush pretty much knows what's coming his way there. He makes a charge, cancels it, can't quite get out of the Blizzard. Frozen down by the endothermic blaster, but hey, there's going to be a Sound Barrier in play for OG, and that should be all the durability that the Defiant need. It's a strong start from the Los Angeles Valiant, but they falter, they stumble, and it carries over into the second round here on Lijiang Tower. Toronto Defiant with a clean 2-0 to start the series.
They didn't even need any of their ultimates there really as well. I mean, they used the Blizzard at the end. They have a Sound Barrier, just to make sure. But that second round was just completely dominated by the Defiant, where if you're the Valiant, right, you did really good against the Florida Mayhem playing those Ramatra comps, fall back on that type of stuff. That's the type of stuff that's looked good for you. And you can play it against the Reinhardt. It's not like you have to mirror in this type of situation.
Crowley's decision to switch the Reinhardt somewhat mystifying. But again, that is the Los Angeles Valiant for you. Plenty of game left for them to show us what they're capable of, but not the best start for them. It's Symmetras for both teams to begin with here, and Seeker definitely has his moments, right? Playing the Symmetra in a front line that doesn't have a constant shield presence there. It's the shatter here from Kalush that really turns that first round around after the Valiant just sort of sit back and wait too long, as you put it.
Yeah, they were waiting to get CG with that Amp Matrix. Also, Liar was really close. Ended up getting the Sound Barrier at the end, but didn't get use of either of those to end round number 1. But round number 2, I mean, this was just a complete blowout. I mean, this is not good.
No, Defiant, as you said, didn't need their ults. That's because the Valiant didn't really have any of their own. Look at the end of the round. Seeker and not.
This is the play, though. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Just
frying them. The Defiant looking much better after a week off, after a slightly slow start. Hollywood, though, will be truly telling. Let's see what we get from the Toronto Defiant, or if the Valiant can hang. So the one way to find out, that's to stick around.
Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the. Wake up, get out the sheets. We came for war, man, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. I hear them check to the noise. Can't stop for the talking. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution.
Some strong opinions about the Toronto Defiant's run through this Overwatch League season so far. Pretty sloppy stuff in week number 2, but hey, 1 week may make all the difference here. Reinforce on the desk says they have to prove to us they are the kind of quality team their name suggests. And Matt, hey, not a bad start in that first map, especially that second round, but I'll be wondering if the Valiant are not it all together after that one.
Let's not just pretend like round 1 didn't exist. I mean, round one down a wire, right? I mean, the Valiant were taking advantage of a lot of different stuff in round number one. So I still want to see how this series progresses. I don't think the Reinhardt is like a great look for the Valiant. I think you want to try and play that Ramatra as much as possible. That's when we've seen them have success with Cry.
Yeah, the switch towards the Reinhardt. Crowy gets picked off very early in those first couple of fights. So much so that halfway through the round, he was still sitting at about, oh, I don't know, 22% ult charge. Kaluja already had his Shatter. A Shatter that he never really had to use during that round. Not enough pressure applied by the Valiant. They've had a chance to collect themselves here. Plenty of smack being exchanged between these two. Yeah, I mean, these guys know each other.
Wild.
Some of these guys go back a little bit here. Yeah, Toronto know they come into this match as the hot favorites, but they can't be feeling great about their sort of record right now. There's 1-3, but well, it was the old meme of we are 0-7. The Valiant used to use. They are getting close to that again.
Yeah, that was the good old Custis special with the Valiant.
That was the Custis special.
Yep.
Hey, they did beat that Vancouver Titans team. I think they were the one that served them up there.
That is true. That is true. That is true. They also lost to a lot of other teams, but they did beat that Vancouver Titans team.
Well, yes. Perspective really makes a big difference, I think.
Yeah. At that time, that Vancouver Titans team was elite.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, some
was that runaway
players. Right. Yeah. This is where I think you'll kind of learn a little bit about, you know, the entire series, right? Hydron takes Seeker out there early, so Nas moves all the way
Don't get in the chat.
Chat message. Yeah, let's get a chat
There's
message
no
in real
way.
quick. Look, I mean...
Oh, they're making cat noises at each other. That's great.
I think, though, if the Valiant can't hold up in this, they're in a lot of trouble in this series. This is where they probably have their best opportunity and should be, I know, in a position where they could potentially win. As we get a pause here, we'll see what's this all about. Maybe it's water on a keyboard. Maybe it's
I think
something.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Hydron got hit with a kappa in the chat there, so you know, I think he might be.
We know OG didn't spill anything on his keyboard because he just took a sip of something.
Are you sure he didn't sip it out of the cracks in his keyboard? No?
He looked like he held up a can, not a keyboard. I've also never seen anybody drink out of a keyboard.
No, but I guess it's a pretty quick way to try and remove any offending matter from it. Ping issue, we're being informed.
All right.
Yeah,
but
well.
Looks like we're all good. They'll jump right back in a game. Seeker just gets locked in now. He's ready to go.
It's high APM gamers, not only fragging, but also throwing barbs in the chat. Seeker again just going to try and dig some of this presence out of the cafe. It's Hydron that was revealed by that Sonic. Looks like he took a big hit as a result as well. Ultraviolet also getting pressured down here. Seeker is pushing. Hydron has limited sightline here, very, very low. And somehow
Valiant getting really good position. I mean, forcing everybody on the Defiant just back into the cafe here with really no resistance. So actually, really nice job there from the Valiant, moving up, taking that space, denying some space from Hydron to be able to kind of just fire down his Hanzo. I mean, look at this, right? Probably playing right up at the door, just putting big damage down on Kaluj before he even gets to the point.
UV must have a decent, safe angle. Oh, okay, that's a huge pick. Very crucial. Look, the pressure happening on two fronts here. First, Seeker's making it hard for Hydron to peek out. Second, Nos was pressuring Ultraviolet down at the same time. So the Valiant really applying the pincer very effectively here to the weakest part of the Defiant setup. And all right, Lyre.
That was really nice Baptiste play there from Lyre. Up on the high ground, I don't know if you caught the nice immortality field to keep Cry alive when he got stuck with a pulse bomb from Speedily. And then being able to pick those two players off at the end, just keeping his tank alive, doing everything there on the high ground, and then also picking up 2 kills to end the fight. Some nice support play again we're seeing here from the Valiant today is they unlock checkpoint A, and look at this, they get control of the high ground.
Speedily on the Genji. A little bit hard to make Tracer work at times here, especially if you're being forced off the high ground and need a method to scale these walls that's baked in. Speedily obviously has that. The Dragon Strike there. It's unclear really what the plan was because there's no huge pivot off of that by the Defiant. They just sort of let that one go. They've dropped to the low ground here. Krawi is heading across the gangway. And Hydron's down to a pulse bomb here. An inauspicious start to the Defiant's Hanzo player so far and being a player down. Not a great look. It's going to be Gitsune Rush committed to the fight, but OG's getting pressured heavily by CJ in the off angle with the kunais. Annihilation
This
in
is
play for
devastating.
both Ramatras.
I mean, Kitsune Rush with the Annihilation. You just see Cry just trying to find anybody, though, to really chase down as Luge pushes up. This will be a Toronto Defiant fight win. So, well, it looked like actually a pretty good start from the Valiant. You know, Nas getting that early pickoff with a Pulse Bomb. You know, Kitsune Rush from both sides, and then, you know, a nice use of the Annihilation for Kaluge swings it to the Defiant.
Speedly will be encroaching on their Dragon Blade here. Curious to see how that gets employed, especially with Ultraviolet. Presumably opting to Nano Kaluge in that previous fight, as we had both Ramatras using their Annihilations. So want to try and pump as much as you can to make sure you win out the battle in the Twin Maelstroms. Positioning here, Matt, for the Defiant. They are set up where they want to be.
Yeah, no Genji or anything for the Valiant, right? Or like a Winston, you know, they're running the D.Va here, but to be able to access that high ground. So really, it's just what the D.Va, maybe, you know, the Kiriko can get up to the high ground with that D.Va, and then like Hanzo Arrow. So a little bit, you know, high ground control, but that's why teams like to run Genji here potentially, right? You know, Genji can just get up here so fast and cause chaos.
It's a good adaptation. Ultraviolet might just build another Nano here and send that to Speedly. Having to bio oneself, not ideal. We almost had the kill. Suzu also being employed, so a lot of defensive utility used to the end of keeping Ultraviolet alive. Dragon Strike to force everyone out of the saloon, presumably here. Kiriko healing, going over towards Speedly. Crowy almost bites off more than he could shoot here, and here comes Kaluge, pushing inside. This could be scary now. Losing Liar, not ideal. Crowy needs a lot of help to stay healthy if he tries to play up against Hanzo and Ramatra. And we almost have a Nano online for UV.
Yeah, and they were just building this Nano, right, to try and use on Speedily, but it got a little bit dangerous there for a bit, right, because the Valiants are getting payload progress. You're waiting on this Nano, to combine with a Blade potentially. It looked like you were almost going to lose Speedily, which would have been pretty brutal to kind of wait that long. You're actually going to have to use the Nano on the Kaluge.
Okay.
He gets pretty weak up on the high ground.
I was going to Falcon Punch Crowy all the way back to his side of the map. Still have the Blade in reserve. Speedly probably feels fine about making use of it, I guess. Ideally in combination with some other abilities, though maybe inside like a Ramatra could be quite nice. But UV did really well to build up another Nano so quickly there, and Kaluge being tough to remove is been a big thorn in the side of the Valiant.
And I actually think you don't really need the Nano for the Blade. There's still like major support ult on the other side, right? Like if you're going to have the Nano and Kaluge, maybe we see like Nano Annihilation sometimes, right? Like
Actually,
that's a super good
I don't think the ult's important at all in this composition, right?
Yeah.
Nice to have, but it's really about Genji's like getting the dash resets, being able to jump in there with Kaluge, just like that, right?
High ground control, right? Always can go duel up on the high ground, whether it's, you know, one
Always
target, two
clean.
Targets. Now the Defiant's starting to lock in, get a hold.
Ultraviolet appearing on the scoreboard with such frequency, I'm going to start calling him X-Ray. Crowy, yeah, forced away. Speedily cleans him up comfortably. So decent stagger on the D.Va there, and a mini removed. We are down to 25 seconds left.
And what's the plan here for the Valiant? Like maybe you can actually have like Nos like move around the outside, right? Maybe get some payload progress, try and, you know, force them down from the high ground, force them back a little bit. I think just kind of like barreling into all 5 players on the high ground has not exactly worked. It looks like Nos will be the one that gets a touch. That's
What?
Nano onto the Hanzo up there on the high ground.
It's absolutely bizarre. You do not see this every day, that's for sure. Kitsune rush up on the high ground by both Kirikos. Nice decoration, to be sure, but I don't know if it really fulfills much function at this point. That is a Dragon Strike from Seeker, but Speedily has eyes for CJ right now. Even just forcing a Suzu via the Blade may be worthwhile at this point because you're down to play. You need to make the play. Suzu comes out early though, and here comes the chase. Speedily won't give up. Able to catch out CJ and Liar. Good way to trade out the kills that came through. OG somehow finding the Ana. Self-destruct here. Seeker getting that pick though is huge now. It's just going to be OG and Speedily. What can they do in a 2 versus 3 here? Seeker's low. No healing really available now. Getting rid of the Hunter is going to be massive, and here comes the Defiant. Looks like they have the numbers. They have the spawn advantage. The pulse bomb for Nos doesn't quite connect here. Crowy desuited and removed. It's going to be Liar coming off spawn, but he's not quick enough. And the Defiant, that is a nice looking defense here in this second phase of the map.
Yeah, kind of a little bit interesting, right? As that payload started to move, Seeker was being able to pick up some kills, but in the end, that spawn advantage so strong for the Defiant. No supports alive, right? It's just Cry, Nos, and Seeker. The Hanzo is just going to kind of like bleed out eventually. You saw Cry with the defense matrix trying to keep him up, but so many players going out of spawn. Not terrible though for the Valiant. You almost get that second checkpoint, so the Defiant are going to have to take checkpoint A and really battle that high ground again. So Valiant not in the worst of spots, but let's see. Toronto did play really well once they had that high ground control. Can the Valiant, if we go to that part of the game, control it in the same manner?
I'm really, not impressed. I'm pretty underwhelmed by the Valiant's ability to sort of access and control that high ground space, right? Krabi makes a switch towards D.Va, which makes sense, right? You kind of understand why a lot of teams switch to D.Va on these second phases of a lot of these hybrid escort maps that have this verticality. But then what? Like they don't do very much with it. They're unable to really control it very effectively. Hydron Speedily on the Genji, looked really good. It didn't have to be flashy, right? Pulling one blade, the post Suzu there. It's collusion on the Ramatra just being unable to be moved.
Yeah, it's the nano onto the Hanzo was a bit interesting. I wonder if that was actually meant to be like for Cry, like going up to the high ground, right? Be able to put some more damage down, because nano Hanzo is pretty interesting. Is Defiant come out with a Winston-based composition here, so really just kind of swapping out the from what they ran on the other side, right? Swapping out that Ramatra with the Winston, where now you actually can kind of keep this Winston in play the entire time, right? Once you take checkpoint A, there's no real need to change as you move forward throughout the map.
Hydron anticipates a Dynamite, just leaping back for a moment. This is going to put the Valiant's defensive abilities to the test. Seeker, best be wary. Takes a hit as he heads up to the water tower. Hopefully his thirst is slaked, because they'll have to play low for now. Nice Sonic there. Hydron sees all of this coming. He's able to rotate. How does Kaluj sort of make use of the absence of the Ramatra on that low ground?
Looks like, Collusion Code just trying to find like a dive target, but the Valiant doing a nice job like rotating around the point, right? Not just kind of setting up, giving them a static option, but there is that option though. They take out Cry. I believe a biotic grenade there comes in from Ultraviolet.
It's not over here. I think Ultraviolet has a lot of lifting to do right now. Nano on a Kaluj, that's a good one. Laya can only backtrack. Suzu used there, but that Baptiste could be in some trouble. Great damage coming back Kaluj's way. He kind of knows he's almost dead. Very clever. He actually sets up line of sight to Ultraviolet to get top back up, and Ultraviolet sends a long-range bio nade in. This is scrappy stuff.
What is
but now the Primal Rage has come in. Yeah, not supposed to recall.
This fight ever happen here. Yeah, I mean, they get 2 ticks on the point, but Cry back on the D.Va. Let's see. You have CJ here as well. You're gonna have a Kitsune rush coming out of the spawn here. Maybe if you're the Valiant, you can get a touch. So Nas will get on, get a touch. You're gonna get all this healing coming in to these Karika real quick. I wonder if they try to invest a Kitsune rush here.
Kaluj keeping that pressure down. And Seeker is out of the picture now. What a dragon strike! That's such dirty lineup there. And yeah, point's going to be taken. Krawi drops to the ground and eventually is going to be dispatched. And you mentioned it was like a really, really messy, scrappy fight, which it was. But something I loved from Kaluj there, Matt, is he has awareness still of where Ultraviolet is standing, even though he's like trying to 1v3. Behind that pillar, he sets up a line of sight. He gets like an extra 250 HP back that buys him the time to get that primal. And it ultimately ends up sort of being a one fight for Toronto. A little thing, right? Maybe not a big deal, but it's a big difference maker in that fight.
Yeah, as now Toronto pushes up pretty aggressively. They get control of the high ground, and this is where they should have a big advantage in terms of having this Winston, having the Genji, being able to control some of this high ground, right? Like, Ashe would be great if Seeker was already set up on there. Tracer can't really, like, contest it as easy as, like, Genji. So it's really on Cry to make this happen. You're also now running the Brig.
Okay, talked about Brig and high ground setups. When you don't control them, it can be difficult. Losing Seeker early again, though, really hurts. That Ashe is not able to get a safe position, a high ground position, or any real zone to play around. Great timing for Ultraviolet. The lift didn't always work that way, I'll give you the big tip, but the timing was good. He's able to nade himself. Kaluj finds 2 more kills. Krawi, he's desuited, and he's going to have to face the music now. There are only a few seconds remaining, really, in this round. The Valiant are going to have to come out strong for this next fight, and they don't have the ults to really command a lead.
Yeah, like, what do they do? You don't have a rally here. You have a self-destruct to, like, basically get people off of the payload, pretty much. But, Primal, Kitsune Rush, Nano Blade, right? You just have so many win conditions here for the Defiant. That's going to be the Nano Blade.
Like that a lot. Immortality Field, though, pretty effective counter to that ability. Speedily rather. Anything but on achieving that kill. He does get the Baptiste at the very least, though, and there's a lot of value there. Self-destruct here, but Bubble's available for Kalush. He dives inside of it, speedily dives inside the saloon. Thirsty, I guess. No's going to be sort of trying to dance around the edge of this fight here, and Ultraviolet gets picked up by Seeker, but the Hanzo's in such a dangerous position here. Speedily is in the thick of things, though. Laia has nowhere to go here. No healing, really, will get him through that fight. And Laia is in deep trouble as well. Yeah, this one is over. The Defiant have the numbers now. CJ can only really try and stall. He can barely get out the door. And it's another convincing showing from the 6. Toronto make it 2-0.
Yeah, and that wasn't super clean there towards the end. They just had such a large advantage in terms of ultimates, the Defiant, going into that fight. So you figured eventually they were going to come out on top, but pretty close there at the end. A little bit too close for comfort maybe for the Defiant, but this is what you want to see from this Defiant squad, right? Going up against a team that's 0-6, being up 2-0. Like, you need, if you're going to contend for that middle ground, you need to be a team that can just stomp teams like this.
Stuff it was. The Valiant looked uncomfortable trying to move to a D.Va, and on both occasions, right? On attack and defense, and the Defiant showed us that flexibility, right? We've seen from Kaluj, Brian, Winston, Ramatra. We know he's an excellent D.Va player as well. Something we saw a lot from the Shock. That's the kind of flexibility that makes you want to bring him onto your team as someone to build around, and look very, very good there. The Speedly Genji was a lot of fun as well.
Oh, yeah.
The Nano Blade towards the end of the round didn't quite pay off, but still a good look here, Matthew. This series could be over before you know it, as we head to Rialto for our 3rd map in the series.
Yeah, I mean, Rialto, you kind of look at some of the different things you can run on that. I think from what we've seen from the Defiant, they can kind of go toe-to-toe with anything the Valiant is throwing at them, where I think you really got to see what the Valiant bounce back with here.
Yeah, stick around, everybody. Map number 3 is Rialto. Don't go anywhere. Uh-oh, indeed. Fans of the Los Angeles Valiant about to bid their team farewell to MI6 as they are looking down the barrel of that 0-7. I don't want to be
like
there.
this. Could be if you're Defiant. This could be your tweet of the year. You could use this multiple times, anytime, right? Good or bad. Today it's good though.
Yeah,
I mean
good,
they're looking great.
Plenty back and forth in chat. My favorite is Ultraviolet calling for a pause and Seeker replying, bruh. Hey, man, don't mess with the man's flow, you know.
Bro, you're trying to game, man. Who wants to pause, right?
Bro, literally, we tell our parents all the time as we're growing up, we can't pause the game. You can't pause the online game. It's not a thing, right? It's how we get that extra time. Well, the Valiant are running short on it, that's for sure. Unless they shape up awful quick.
The Valiant's parents are not letting them pause. They're
pulling the plug.
They're pulling, they're putting the plug. They're hiding the console for a few days. They're
I'm midway through the Culligan Stratford. No, pulling it out. Sorry, mate.
No,
that's it.
I'm picking up the phone. The internet's going
yeah, exactly. Welcome back to the 1990s. Dating myself. Good lord. All right. Toronto are going to be on the attacking side to start with here, so we will be scrutinizing the Valiant setup. Again, Ramatra definitely a comfort place for Krawi to be, although he's rarely had a chance to rest on his laurels throughout the course of this series. Toronto have been pretty relentless, and Kalush has been doing so on a variety of different heroes. I think like one of the criticisms from the desk was that we don't really know what the Defiant style is. I'll be honest with you, we still don't, but that's not necessarily in a negative connotation now, because they've managed to make like Ramatra, Diva, Reinhardt, which all look really good. So Toronto have a plethora of strategies at their disposal, and they've all been executed well.
Yeah, and this time they put Hydron on the Widowmaker, where this is going to be a fun battle. The Widow of Hydron versus Seeker as well. I'm excited because it's going to be a good Widow battle, but you're also probably going to get some chat.
I want to see the chat.
You know?
Yep.
You're going to get some chatter after. Hydron knows exactly where he's going. Just a little bit of a leg shot there, yeah.
Check him PC. Okay.
Check him PC. Damn, you're running through them all today.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry, I haven't started screaming for to pull ESIC yet. I've thought about it. All right, there it is. CJ falls. A decent target, obviously, for the Widow to fire on. Great opener here. Should allow the Defiant to start to make the way around the corner. Much less durability here for Krawi in the form of healing, who will have to drop off the high ground himself. Sleep dart on Kalush, but that won't slow him down.
Yeah, Krawi's going to have to pop the Nemesis for him and move backwards there, which is not what you want to see. Is you lose your Ana, you lose your Ramatra. Now, CJ, who is on the Kariko, just comes off a spawn, right? Not a great start here for the Valiant, as Hydron just looking for maybe another pick where you're going to be able to probably contest here. Yeah, you're going to get everybody back, it looks like, for the Valiant. But Nozzle get on and get a touchdown. That's a big pick there.
Seeker repositioning to try and challenge Hydron. Unable to find him. Hydron opts to relocate himself here. Losing the Genji. Pretty frustrating for the Defianters. It's really often been called on to contest. Have to move that card forward alongside Kalush. Hydron. Dealing with Nos for the time being, who's trying to blink in as hard to predict way as possible, apparently. There's Nano on line here for Ultraviolet. For the Diva.
Oh yeah, and you can just go right into the backline there. I mean, no way Liar's going to be able to keep himself alive, but it almost seems like the Valiant decided to give him up, and you're going to have Seeker pick up 2 players, yeah.
Get him in the chat! That's 3 for Seeker! Pretty strong, but again, someone needs to stand on the card. That bomb from Nos was huge. Don't tell me Kalush is going to do this on his own. That is unreal! He did it on his own! Come on, 3 Widow kills in that fight! You still, man! The bomb from Nos
you
was
lost
good,
the Tracer, right? Yeah. Once you lose the Tracer, because you saw a little bit there, CJ just kind of standing on the bridge a little bit, because he has nobody to teleport to at that time, right? Would have needed to have a player there to get close to the cart, where Seeker and Nas doing everything they can there at the end to extend it, just not enough.
Yeah, I'm clutching my pearls a little bit, but what can you do if you're the Valiant Seeker too far away? By necessity, really, to make a difference. Again, that's Kalush, though, finding a key backline of Laya is down this time. Krawi is out in the open, blocks himself up. Good pressure on Kalush, but guess who just goes to the high ground and gets topped up? You can't let that happen. That does not feel good. Krawi cannot get up there, cannot transition to the high ground. Seeker's forced to give up his perch as well, and here come the Defiant.
And the Valiant, for me, Mitch, right here with this kind of composition, right? You want to get aggressive, maybe go for that backline, right? It's really just trying to put pressure on Ultraviolet potentially, but look at where Ultraviolet's set. There's no way you're going to be able to access him. And then look at Craw, he's kind of just stuck in between everybody, right? You know, getting damage from both sides.
Yeah, Sleep Dart there briefly on Crowy. Desperately being healed up by CJ inside a Kitsune Rush, but guess what? Speedly is coming. Blade finds Laya here. Oh, he found Nos as well, who lingered a little bit too close to the bleeding edge. Will be a nano on OG here. I'm not sure about that one, but the Defiant, hey, they get what they came for.
And as they are just speed running here through Rialto, as Seeker then in for sight. Hydron's over on the Sombra though. He doesn't even care about this Widow duel anymore. As now that the pace have picked up, the Valiant just seem to be crumbling under it.
Seeker just firing in the dark there. Trying to see anyone is going to present themselves on some of these more obscure, these safer sight lines. Yeah, Hydron off the Sombra onto the Hanzo instead here.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, maybe you just want that dragon for the end, right? Just sending the dragon down the hallway. And also, more close to like medium range than anything. Like, look at the Widow angle right here. Like, you can have a player in your face basically instantly. Very difficult to play Widow here.
Yeah, Seeker's like having to bend over backwards to find any real sight line here. Really having to grapple up very frequently. Try and find something very speculative at the moment. OG here, maybe a little bit concerned about where he's positioned with this Annihilation in play. Backing up, Hydron will be tended to. Krawi gets nothing for that ultimate except a couple seconds of respite.
What, you use a self-destruct, get them weak enough, they have to use an Annihilation. That's a Biotic Grenade there on the Cry. Oh, nice stick there though from Nas's. I know Nas had a few nice sticks here throughout this series, right? Almost good enough to kind of keep point A rolling for the Valiant, and then now pretty much stopping this Toronto push.
Hydron finds Seeker though. Nos wants to contest the card and try and mark Spiegly as much as possible. Here's the Dragon Strike. This is pretty close now. A lot of damage forcing the rally, presumably from Laya. Immortality Field is down, and there's the Pulse Bomb connection. Seeker comes back, though. Hydron may have met his match. Mouthing whoops to the camera. Definitely doesn't expect that.
Yeah, this is a nano on to OG here. He's just trying to find any kills here, but not going to be able to find anything or get TP'd out. So that's a pretty big investment there now for the Toronto Defiant. And you're at 2 minutes remaining. Mitch is the Valiant. Maybe he'll get a little bit of a hold.
Yeah, both Seeker and Nos find important kills in that fight, ones that really hamper Toronto's prospects. Big switches up wholesale. We have Lucio Baptiste May being picked up by Speedly. No longer wants to take the Tracer duel.
This is a little bit of just like slow play here from the Defiant. Like if they're going to play Ramatra, we'll just match you with this Ramatra, but play it in a way more brawly, drag it out style, and let Hydron get.
That's clean. That is clean as a whistle.
Bro, that would have been the type in chat opportunity right there.
I mean, that's what wasn't it Johnny or who was it that said Scott? I think there's nothing worse than being like killed by Hanzo when he's in midair, just randomly logging you. But hey, the comp switch really paying off here for the Toronto Defiant. They get the map done with a minute 10 to spare. They go for a rush comp that involves trying to catch Crowy out, but as Hydron with a couple slick kills, that sends them barreling to.
Oh, I mean, if Hydron kills both of your damage dealers and they're just kind of barreling you down with Ramatra May, I mean, good luck, right? There's nothing you could have done there if you're the Valiant to keep that one going. So, nice switches though from the Defiant. We've seen them actually play a ton of different stuff today, Mitch. Right? We've seen some Reinhardt looks from the Valiant, from the Defiant. We've seen Ramatra, Diva, really just a lot of different comps here from the Defiant today that have looked quite good.
Yeah, quite a variety of them. Kalush has basically shown us every facet of the current metagame outside of the Junker Queen play. We haven't really had a map that's sort of lent itself to that all that much, but Hydron, man, scary stuff. Even in losing games in that week too, Hydron was looking ferocious. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee here. Nothing Seeker could do, and guess what? Nos,
yo, there's nothing you can do there. I mean, Nas either has to, pretty reliant on killing him instantly. If you don't, you're giving Hydron, who's tremendous aimer, right? Those are like the heroes you would say he excels at, right? You're giving him like 34 shots to take out on Hanzo, like close to medium range. Like he's gonna hit one, right?
It's interesting just how much of your intuition is required to be well developed as a Hanzo player, because there's like travel time, right? So you need to be predictive even at that kind of range, even up close against a Tracer. It says a lot about just game sense and just a feel for how people move in this game that Hydron's able to find those two.
Yep, back to the Widow battle here. So we're gonna get to see Nas on the Genji, so that'll be interesting. Really seeing Nas play a lot of the Tracer in these types of competitions, but playing the Genji, and then you see Liar now over on the Barik wants to help try and support CJ a little bit more.
Yeah, also like being able to pack Nos is pretty convenient here. Whatever helps the Valiant put more pressure down on Hydron, but Hydron is so far away. No one's getting to him at this point.
Just a lot of quiet as these Widowmakers try and jump, find some shots. Nasa trying to get in there, do some damage. He gets quite low.
That poison mine placement, the Venom mine, that was
on the
from
wall,
Hydron.
right?
So it's like a really, I don't know if he sets it up mid-round or if he like fires it from his current position. Either way, it gives him all the information he actually needs.
Yeah, I think we saw a little bit of a fly through at the pregame where he kind of like puts it on the back side of that wall. So if people kind of come around that corner and he's not in this position, he can actually get this type of vantage point.
He's playing so far back. He's trying to get back on the Lijiang Tower. He is almost to spawn right now. Very wary of just this very hostile anti-Widow setup. The Valiant making pretty slow progress, but it's progress all the same. They managed to round this corner. Hydron now just trying to get some...
That's the immortality field, though. They get the immortality field out, so now Valiant, what do you do? Crawley's been taking so much damage trying to go in. So weak, yeah?
Get a pulse in the next 12 seconds. That's what we're looking for. Bingo.
Nice shot, though. Sport's getting out of the way.
Speedily unable to stick that one, unfortunately. Giving agency to the Valiant backline in order to avoid certain doom. OG clears another Venom mine.
Did you see that Speedily fired some shots down there? Didn't actually go down through that doorway, and they actually had OG on Kiriko kind of come through the other side of the door, tried a little bait and switch there. Doesn't end up working out. They end up losing OG, but pretty nice play there from the Defiant.
Yeah. Not having Kalush though hurts. We have both support ultimates using that fight though. That is Hydra. There's a bloody shield in the way, and Seeker still gets absolutely rinsed. Oh, that's nice. Okay, not so much to work with now if you're the Valiant, but you have your Ramatra front and center, very close to that Annihilation. I'm curious to see how the Defiant deal with this. A sleep dart seems like it's absolutely essential here. Kalush realized he is in the wrong end of the pool right now. Hydron though finds another key pick, and there's the pulse. That's perfect. No healers, no problem for the Defiant. They roll over the Valiant.
I mean, that's how you deal with the annihilation of the Ramatra in a really close quarter area. Like, it's the perfect spot to be able to use it. You get an early pick onto one of the supports and then a pulse bomb onto the other. You get them both out of the way. I mean, that is perfect. Where you see Hydron actually, just saw a little bit of the Venom mine down, and he was almost like sitting behind the wall, right? A little bit, knowing exactly through the window there, kind of peeking, knows exactly where players are coming from.
At worst, it's an early warning system. At best, you get that pseudo infrasight on your target for a time. Seeker again, like, where are your angles here? Like, what are the good angles? Without exposing yourself to Hydron here, this infrasight obviously makes a difference, and you get a pick on. There it is, the Kiriko. That is pretty crucial. Hydron, nothing he could do. He didn't have an infrasight of his own. So we'll see the Dragon Blade here from Nos. The Valiant are expending their ultimates to get this first point, but there's no guarantee that's going to work here. If Kitsune rush back, but when OG returns it, Kalush is close to an annihilation. Oh, the Valiant, they're going to have to beware here. Losing Nos to Hydron. This is a problem.
Yeah, this is pretty bad. Nice shot there. So it's actually CJ who gets the kill there on the Speedily for a second. The Seeker jumping up with the shot as he was coming down, but you're going into an annihilation here, Mitch, and you're going to have Kitsune rush for the Defiant. They're looking great to get a hold.
Yep, here come the Valiant. They're going to have to make it happen with nothing but the clothes on their backs and maybe something from CJ if he can build it up. Seeker can't line up the shot. It's too chaotic. There's so many particle effects going on, and he is reduced to particles himself. This will be the Toronto Defiant staunchly holding outside this first checkpoint. OG cleans up Nos there with a kunai, and so the chances of the Valiant down the drain here. A clean 3-0 for the Toronto Defiant. And that's how you want to be bouncing back after a horrendous second week here in the Western region.
I mean, this is how you should look when you have this level of talent, right? I mean, this is a team that we all expected to be pretty solid. Excelled throughout the year. They did not look great early on, but you get a win here against the Valiant in a big way. Maybe you can actually make something out of it now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. They 2 and 3? Yeah, they're okay. They're definitely going to have a shot to be a potential fixture heading into the mid-season here. The Valiant, though, can't say the same for them. It's a team that has been consistently getting better, but they get bounced back down at 0 and 7, which is a pretty tough pill to swallow, considering the team is looking, again, like I said, vastly improved from previous years. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. If losing is learning, these guys are going to be geniuses pretty soon.
They've learned enough. They've hit their max brain power. Now they need to just start using it. But we do have player of the match here for the Toronto Defiant, and really, Hydron played tremendous today. We were both shouting it out a lot though during the cast, and really, I just enjoyed ever since he's become a player here in the Overwatch League. Just getting to watch him play. Always usually puts up a pretty strong performance, and this right here on the sim early on was awesome to watch. But then his Hanzo play really started to take over.
Yeah, I mean, the duel versus Seeker across the whole series has generally been really entertaining. I think both of these players are very skilled, and they are probably like players that you want to highlight as like top West DPS individuals. Hydron's Hanzo, man, are looking very, very good. Not just here on Hollywood, right, but on Rialto. This little clip, yeah, this one lives rent-free in Seeker and Nos's head for a bit, I think. Just 1 versus 2, making it look awful easy. The stats, tell quite a lot of the story as well. Hanzo, 9.9 final blows per 10. That's scary, and a lot of them are
pretty wild
kills. It makes perfect sense, right?
A lot of them are just one-shots at range, right? Being able to just take out a support, taking out the other DPS, and to be able to do it at this high of a clip. That gives your team such a wild advantage in some of these fights.
Yeah, I mean, coming into the series, we were pretty dubious about the Toronto Defiant. I said I may have predicted them, but I wasn't particularly comfortable about it. The fact of the matter is, it's probably like a low sample size, really. It's been a little while. It's nice I was going to ask Drake this question, actually, like what difference a week can make for a team that's like on campaign in the Overwatch League. So far, not the best test of your improvement going up against the Valiant here, but like we really wanted to see this team in a vacuum, look much better, and I think they've done that. They really understand their win conditions and play a ton of different compositions as well. So it looks like their study's been paying off for them.
Yeah, that's what I really like. Just the versatility to play all these different types of compositions at what looks like an average to above average level. I think that's what will really give Toronto an edge against some of these other teams.
No doubt about it. Well worth keeping an eye on the Defiant as they go forward. It's been quite a day, safe to say. Albeit a slightly quick one, but we of course are going to head to our desk and have them wrap up this game and the rest of the day after the break.
Joke's on you!
It's just us. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, we have some stuff to discuss. Toronto takes it, and once again, they're looking explosive. We had some questions heading into this match about their identity. Has some of that been answered with this game, or do you still feel like they haven't really been tested?
Well, I mean, I don't know that the Valiant are like the toughest opponent really for them to beat. They're definitely not. But I did like what I saw, especially at the Defiant. It felt like that they had a little bit more individuality in this game. I guess I was very, I'm Nostradamus. I predicted they'd put Hydron back on those like core backline damage they rolls. I thought they might end up playing a little bit more Sombra, but yeah, they focused up on what looks to be their comfort zone and looked incredibly strong on it. I mean, I think Hydron is one of the best players in the league in that role when he's just on the Hanzo, on the Widow, finding his own picks. They look great with that.
Danny, today was not the day.
It really wasn't. I can't even back it up. I mean, it was just Toronto was so clean. Like whether it was the Winston dive and like they showed us a lot of different comps. And I think Toronto really, they had about a week off, and I think they definitely put a lot of work into it. I liked, just like Jake said, a lot of what we saw from the Toronto Defiant, and just Hydron just on that Hanzo is just crazy.
Yeah.
Kalush had a great performance on the Rhine, in my opinion, this series as well. I think this comp, you really felt the experience gap between the teams. I mean, that was a sick bait. Like, you laugh at it, but I think that's actually a nice play. Canceling the pin. Johnny, that didn't exist when you played Rhino, right?
No, I mean, you're technically correct, but it was no reinforcements of Froggy.
The greats, the Titans. We forgot about you guys. My bad. But seriously, I think the team looks really solid when they play the Rhine sim. Li Jiang, obviously, a very great compliment for that. And then as well, OG on this Kiriko. I think that was another great look. for the Defiant. OG has a lot of individual mechanics that not every main support does, so able to flex to the carry, which I think is, this Ana carry for me is like one of my favorite looks when you play these slower Ram comps. A lot of value, you know, the Kiriko can kind of walk around the map on the flank, show up in your backline and start poking you down, helping Tracer really well, and I think it's just much more effective than Brig or Lucio in that kind of trading for map space type matchup. But when Hydron gets kills like these, I mean, it just feels like there's not much you can do about Hanzo when he just gaps your DPS like that.
But,
One hero.
But still, I mean, you asked earlier, Zoe, about did we see more kind of like a style from Toronto Defiant? It's just like, okay, well, map 1, they played Reinhardt for 2 rounds. Yeah. Map 2, they came out playing Ramatra on Hollywood, and they also played Winston on Attack Hollywood, because Winston is really good on Hollywood, so of course they're going through that. And then they played Ramatra again later on, so like, you know, they with Lucio instead of they play everything. No, look.
But that's the meta.
That's the meta. Yeah. They're great decisions. You know, of course you want to play Winston on Attack Hollywood. Of course you want to play Reinhardt on, you know, lead young tower rounds because it's really good, right? But I didn't get my question answered, but I'm hoping I will pretty soon.
Oh, well,
for
you're
me, the
just
identity
in
was
love.
that backline.
No, I have a segue here. Shut your
I
mouth.
set you up for it. Yeah. Me and Zoe are cooking, Jake. Let us cook.
I'm sorry, I lost the thread.
It's okay.
Let's pretend it just never happened.
We'll just be quiet.
There we go. Well, reinforce. You're just in luck because we do have a winners interview coming up.
No way!
Wow! We got Hydron from the Toronto Defiant joining us for a quick chat. So first of all, congratulations, of course, to you and your team. A dominant performance. We've been talking here on the desk, trying to figure out what the Toronto Defiant's identity is. We saw a lot of different looks. Do you feel like there is something which really defines their team in terms of composition or playstyle?
No, I think we're just a bunch of winners who win.
I want to ask you, the last time we saw you guys Toronto Defiant play was against Florida Mayhem, and then you guys had about a week off. So, Hydra, what were some of the things that Toronto Defiant worked on before coming into the match?
I think coming into this week, we kind of had to scrap the playbook and kind of start from scratch. And so that's kind of what we did. And we kind of reinvented ourselves within this past week. And I say so far, it's been going good.
Yeah, I do feel like you guys look like a very different team than we saw previously, which a lot of teams, I think, had a week off, and then I just didn't feel that same new energy from them. So I'm happy to see you guys kind of living up to your potential a little bit more. What I want to ask about is actually not about the match. I'm talking about the game within the game, which is, I want to know, LA Valiant players, you know them, you know, maybe you know the guys. How's the trash talking? You know, is it good? Is it getting you excited, or is it boring? Is it weak? You know, like give me a judgment here. Seeker was fighting back a little bit, but as a king of trash talk, I want to know what your perspective is.
I mean, trash talk is always a little bit better when it's a bit harder, but
yeah.
We came into this match saying that, you know, we've been here before, like we've played against this team kind of in like semifinals of contenders, so it's nothing too different. And yeah.
Damn, so it just wasn't a hard enough match for the trash talk to really have any kind of impact.
Not necessary.
Yeah, no. If we're gonna talk, at least walk a little bit of the walk. Like you can't.
All right, I'll take that. We'll have to revisit it.
0-7.
Oh my.
Hydron, I'm curious about Toronto Defiant coming together this year. Of course, you were all part of the American Tornado going back a couple of years now. Then you were in separate Overwatch League teams. You were on Florida Mayhem last year. You had Collusion Sam, who were on the San Francisco Shock, who were coached by Cazores, who is now the head coach of the Toronto Defiant. You also have No Hill waiting in the wings. You have Wheat, who you worked with in the past. Can you talk a bit about the difference in coaching when it comes to Toronto Defiant this year, compared to, for example, Florida Mayhem that you were part of this year? What makes the coaching staff so important for you in Toronto?
I think this year it's a lot more kind of player-oriented, like kind of up to the players to make a lot of the choices, where I think on teams like Florida, it was more of a coach-led team. So I think as a player that's been on both, I think I have a lot more say, a lot more like freedom on this team to make choices.
Has that made you more comfortable as a player? Do you prefer that style of, hey, like this is what I feel confident doing and I'd rather do it this way? Or do you like getting, you know, a lot of help from your coaches?
I don't think it really matters. Like you put another player against me, he's gonna get, you know.
Yep,
Mono
we know.
mono. I understand.
Well, Hydron, thank you so much for taking the time. It's always a pleasure chatting with you, and we wish you best of luck in your next game.
Cool, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Toronto Defiant, a team which we talked a lot about the power of friendship they got going for them. So they're essentially like the Care Bears of Owl, just a little more edgy. It's been working for them.
Hopefully I'm
Care Bears.
Yeah.
Edgy Care Bear.
Zoe, come on now. Zoe. Come on.
Someone draw this, please. I don't know. Angie,
Angie, let's go.
Come on.
Edgy Care Bear.
Here's
Edgy
homework.
Care Bears. Come on.
They're
They're all friends, but they're you know, they're cutthroat. They want to win. They want to
So
get these
we're the
dubs.
Care Bears.
Care Bears with weapons.
Those beams and what? I don't know. Like that.
I love your question, Johnny, about the coaching, because I think that is a really impactful difference between a lot of teams that most people never get to see in the league, which is this idea that some of these teams are the coaches going to dictate to you, this is how you're going to play. And I think really, in my view, the better style is that the coach is really a participant in this discussion, where the players themselves are some of the most knowledgeable people in the world about the game. And so for someone to just come in and be like, no, I don't care about what you think, you do it this way, strikes me as missing out on a lot of the insight that players have in terms of their feeling of what feels the strongest, what feels the best. So in my opinion, those teams that have a little bit more trust in between the players and the coach can participate in that discussion, add to it, can focus it, but still allow the players to speak their mind and have their vision seen and heard too. I think that's really exciting. So for me, I have a lot of faith in Defiant. I think they can grow from this as Hydron was saying, reinvent themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of different coaching styles, of course. Some do prefer the top-down coach to players approach as well. Some players just need that, you know. They need someone to just drag them by the hand.
Bad players need that.
And push them into.
Let's stop throwing
You said
frames.
that? I did
Come
not.
on.
I don't want to talk about bad players. I want to talk about good players, good moments, highlights. And we got plenty of those, even though it was a quick day of 3 Overwatch. We do have some stuff which really tickled our fancy. So let's take a look at. Well, that one didn't tickle my fancy. That was, I hope to see a little more. However, it was also on the flip side of that coin. It's great to see teams dominating when you expect them to dominate. This is a statement for a lot of those teams which needed to be made in order to proceed into the last few games they will be playing in order.
This was so predictable. I tweeted out at the start of the day that we were all just going to have 3 O's and nothing fun was going to happen. No, just pretty expected stuff.
Did?
So,
yeah,
I mean, it just all according to plan. All according to plan.
Yeah.
What a day.
Hey, I was hopeful.
I respect that. No, someone's got to lift the spirits up on this, and you're the one to do it.
Well, in fairness, I think Valiant, they had bright spots against the Atlanta Rain. It was easy to see them on an upswing. I think what we didn't expect was this reinvention from Toronto Defiant. This is kind of what we always thought we'd see from this team, but I think the first 4 matches really gave fans pause. We're wait, is it just falling apart? Is it not working? But I think this will give fans of the World Cup hope for Team USA as well, with a lot of the player overlap from this Defiant squad. Looking really
They
strong,
beat the Valiant. South Korea next.
Right. That's fair. But I think it was a dominant match. It was more than just a win. It was a statement. It was an absolute beatdown. Wasn't anything close really about the whole series. One Koth round was kind of close. I mean, that's really all it was for the Valiant.
And if anything, it gave us another opportunity to hear Hydron trash talking and be confident, which I just love.
You can't take him mano a mano. Nobody can.
Yeah, exactly. So far, no one has. Let's talk about other highlights, though. What got you excited? What made you happy? What you going to call home about, Danny?
I want to talk about what was I know. Twilight, baby. Boston Uprising, Twilight, just putting an absolute show, and then some more at the end. He did a nice sleep dart, and then I think he gets a couple kills with the nade, and then here comes my favorite part. I think he does it to Vulcan, right?
Oh.
There you go. Nice, because I
love this with the wide shot.
I do a lot of squats these days, and
there might have been a widow. There might have been a widow, so he had to kind of vary his head movement.
I believe Twilight likes to work out. You get the heart pump going. It's the heart rate up.
That's healthy. Yeah, it's good for you. I really think though there were so many moments in the series where Twilight. I mean, it was disrespectful. It was I'm just gonna run it down on your back line and just kill you all. Okay, you're honest killing us all, guys. This doesn't feel good.
It's like Hydron. It's like there's art to trash talking.
There's art
and
to
trash talking the team that's gone 0-5. And have you ever interacted with Vulcan in your life?
Yeah.
That was out of
punching
pocket.
It was a little bit aggressive for Twilight. I'll give you that. It was a little bit aggressive, but I'm here for that. I like a little bit of aggression.
I love aggression.
If you're better than someone, you should style on them. Don't let them off easy. This is Overwatch League. We don't pull punches here.
That's how we start a feud, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, that's we love the added drama. Did you spot some drama?
For me, I actually, this is a classic play for me. I went with Punk's dive on Blizzard World with a nano boost and a second point. Punk with a nano boost to the end of second point, like in playing Clue or something. But great pressure here, forces the high ground to the low ground, or the back line rather, to the low ground. Boops the BAM,
I can't
the
believe
BAB
no one
out
else
of his
is
lamp.
laughing about the reference to Clue.
To the high
Has
ground,
no
to
one
the low.
played the game?
And then a beautiful diva bomb there. I mean, it's just a clean execution, clean up, really, by the Boston Uprising. But I like this play. It's just just a domination outplay from the Vancouver Titans. We saw tons of that this match, and Punk was a key part of it. I think this is really Punk's year, I think, to shine and to show the fans what he's got as a solo tank player on a team that looks like they have a ton of potential, more than I think most people would have expected going into the season.
Yeah.
Shame on you guys not getting the Clue reference. They still didn't get it.
They don't.
Just
They're not a board
straight
gamer,
over there.
all right? I'm a board
Parents
gamer.
saw it. Same. No, I thought that was really
Thank you.
very
High ground
funny.
and low
Thank you. We gotta play board games.
Yeah,
and
we actually.
not these guys.
They can. Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, you look excited to talk about
Do you
your
know
highlights
what? Do you know what can really come in handy when you're as lost as me in this scenario?
No, please do.
The ability to phone a friend, and that's what Smurf did on the Boston Uprising in the middle of the game.
Oh my god.
Against the Vegas
When
Eternal.
was this? He's just
Took out the
flexing on
phone.
them?
Yeah, waiting on the elevator.
He's making a call.
He's far up, so he got the signal. He's good to go.
Oh my! I
Next
love
to
this.
the
I'm making a
tower
few
as well.
calls.
Guys,
Yeah.
we are blessed by this wonderful replay team, getting the cinematic shots of Smurf emoting with the phone.
Who do you think he's calling? San Francisco Shock, like, yo, you want to get the band back together? You want to get the band back together?
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
calling somebody. He's calling
Soul
for
Dynasty?
assistance to the Vegas Eternal. They need it.
They need some help.
They need some
Profit and
help.
Soul Dynasty, Profit, taking a bit of a break now. Maybe get the band back together. Something.
Yeah. Gotta call in. He doesn't need to call in for any help. It's like that guy who won Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, who calls his dad and just like,
to tell him.
oh, by the way, Dad, I'm
that
gonna win. I don't need your
was so
help.
good.
Sheesh, that's literally the call he's making. I'm gonna win this series, Mom. You don't have to watch. You can just head home. It's an easy one.
Get dinner ready.
Yeah,
I'll be right
exactly.
there.
I'll be home early.
I'll be home early. Works nothing today. It's light work.
What you get, Zoe? What you got?
My best of the day is just to be back with you guys. It's been
Oh.
difficult 2 weeks. Everyone at home has been super supportive. It's been rough at home, but I missed you guys, and
We
it was
missed you
great to be
too.
back. Even though it
We're
was
finally
some games
complete.
of Overwatch, but yeah, the family is back.
This guy's here too, I guess.
I'm so disappointed there was no gameplay. I was like waiting for a highlight, and you're like, what?
You guys are my highlight. If that's disappointing to you, Reinforce,
No, I'm happy.
I just love Overwatch, that's all.
and not
Well,
us. Sheesh.
Okay.
And not
Okay,
sorry.
bye.
Understood, Johnny.
And that's.
Yeah, I guess we're pretty good. Yay, us.
I'm so glad to have 2 friends and a coworker here with us. in the
He
studio.
is
It's always
a
an
coworker. He's
absolute-
always
You
been
said
a
it, not me.
True. But you made me feel that.
The feud is beginning here. There's no feud with Hydron.
This
and
has been
we
going on
talked
for
about
like
multiple
6
feuds now.
years.
This is the feud.
Oh well, we let it unfold, see where we're at the end of the season. For now, however, I do want to take a look at what's going down overnight, because there's going to be some feuding. Is that a word? Probably not. We'll make it
I
one.
think it is.
Yo.
Spring Stage knockouts in the East are actually starting. That's right. They're already in that knockout stage. That means that we're going to find out which of these teams are going to make it into mid-season madness. We're going to have contenders teams joining in on the fun. They will try to take down some Titans, and I'm excited for this one.
I will say,
Please say.
there's a chance
Yes.
that both Seoul and Shanghai lose
No,
these games.
no.
I mean,
Shanghai, if you lose this, come
first
on.
round, I'd be pretty surprised. But I do think that there are some contenders teams. All right, Dynasty, Profit's taking a break, right? So
Yeah.
like
Oh,
to
that's
lose
true.
him, that's a huge point of strength for the team. I don't think they're gonna go down in the first round to I guess that's the bottom ranked contenders teams playing in the first round, right? But maybe the best contenders teams hungry enough,
Yeah,
like
like later
punching
down
up
the road?
with their own vision of how to play and their own style. Like who knows? I think it's a great opportunity for young players to prove themselves.
That's exactly
and punch
it.
up.
It's not just the punching up, it's also the fact that they have the element of surprise, right? Like there is a pretty small possibility of the OWL teams actually going in hardcore researching those contenders teams to
Right.
really see what they all have in their back pockets. They can come out and actually surprise some of us. You're laughing. What is so funny? You want to
How
share
many
the class?
teams in the Pro-Am made it out of groups?
Well,
Hey, That's the
You're
West.
ruining my story here.
Opportunity
That's
to,
it.
you know, maybe it's a trick face versus shock kind of scenario. You know, surprise them, maybe
Yeah, but
ping.
like, how great has the Shanghai Dragons looked like the last few weeks?
O2 Blast is.
O2 Blast is good. O2 Blast
Yeah.
is good.
I mean, this is bracket play,
I
Johnny.
think
Anything
East
can
is
happen.
different from the West, definitely. I think.
I feel like Seoul and Shanghai are going to lose. So I'm a bit of a doomer.
Yeah, well, I think.
I
eventually.
hope Shanghai
The question is
wins.
to
I don't
whom.
want Shanghai to lose.
The question is to whom? Like, which of these contender teams is the best? I think O2 Blast probably has the best
Poker
odds.
Face, got good players.
Yeah, good
Dreamers always on
performances.
Dreamers are pretty good. Like all of these teams are honestly stacked.
Yeah.
Like honestly, you look at the roster. One of them is made up of a bunch of Chinese players who used to play on Chengdu Hunters, for example, and Hangzhou Spark. You got Muse is on one of the teams, Poker Face, of course, with Arrow and Simple. Like there's lots of talent on those teams. If you're Seoul, who are like figuring out their damage situation without Profit now, you got Shanghai. Flatus playing tank, and I guess they had some good performances the last couple of weeks, but I'm not confident in those teams. I'm sorry. I'm just not.
Well, we're going to find out tomorrow. We, of
yeah.
course, going to report back on the first round of the knockout stage in the Eastern region. However, we here in the West, we still have some regular qualifier plays to make.
we got
And
some
this
good
is
ones.
our tomorrow schedule. Vegas Eternal will go up against the LA Gladiators, followed by the San Francisco Shock, going up against the Houston Outlaws. And the last match of the day is Toronto Defiant and the Boston Uprising, which I'm honestly most excited about that last match.
You know what? That last match before the day started, when I saw it on the schedule, I was like, "Oh, Boston's gonna win it." But now, I'm not too sure. I think Toronto. Yeah.
Looked very good.
Yeah,
like we
they
didn't
looked
really
pretty
see a
good.
weakness. From them.
Against the Valiant. Yeah.
And Boston Uprising beat the Vegas Eternal. So what you got going on over there? All right, this is where we see this is a
They
match
lost
with
to Vancouver.
consequences, right? These are both teams that like want to assert themselves, want to solidify their place qualifying to the tournament. And so I think for Toronto and Boston, they both want to take that
Right.
win. I'm really excited for the second match of the day, Shock versus Houston. I think that's going to be a very fun one. I'm excited to watch.
For whom exactly?
You know who I'm living vicariously through. If you saw it was Houston versus Washington when FD got Ajax. The smile on Violet's face. I've never seen that man smile like that. He was living for that Ajax. And now going up against his former team in the Shock,
yeah.
I think we're gonna see some more smiles from Violet. So I'm gonna be watching Violet's player cam all match long. Personally, that's my approach to that series.
I would love to see Violet doing some tactical crouching.
Oh, please.
On proper.
Please, Violet.
And that is what we're looking forward to tomorrow. And we're just a few hours away, so make sure to get some rest and make sure to catch some of the knockout action over in the East. And we're going to fill you in case you missed those tomorrow morning in our Watchpoint pre-show. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, gentlemen, so much
Thank
for joining
you.
me here on the desk. We'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time. Stay tuned.
Bye-bye.